Joining us right now is Medal of Honor recipient Dakota Meyer and former retired USS Cole commander and U.S. Chief Kirk S. Lippold. Dakota, good to see you, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Dakota, kick us off here. Congratulations to you. We're thrilled that you're here this morning. Your take on where ISIS is today?
Look, I mean, I think we're crushing ISIS. I think that you know, with the initiatives that the president's coming out with, I think the way we're handling business now, I mean, we're following through. And look, I mean, this is just another example of what we're doing. We're doing good things over there.
And is this partly because the president has given the authority back to the generals on the ground?
Yeah, I mean,
and let them get their authority?
Yeah, I mean, look, everything that I'm hearing is that he's empowering them to go do their jobs. I mean, I'm telling you, we've got the greatest fighting force on the face of the planet. Just let them do their jobs.
Commander, how do you see it?
I see it the same way. Not only are we working with our Iraqi partners over there, but more important, we're now getting the intelligence necessary to go after these guys at the heart, at the top, take them out, and ensure that we absolutely destroy their ability to effectively reconstitute in the future.
Well, they're definitely moving now. We see that they're moving toward in Africa. I mean, they're not in the places that they were, Gary.
Exactly. You know, and I'm curious, is part of that, do you feel that Trump has unleashed the military a little bit more, or do you sense any change between the Obama administration and right now in going after terrorists?
Well, I mean, look, I think he's committed to it. I mean, it's nothing about unleashing us, right? I mean, we're never going to do anything morally immoral and unethical, right?
I meant more supportive.
Yeah, no, of course.
You've given the authority back to the generals.
Of course. Look, he's letting them do their job. I mean, he's letting them go, and he's putting confidence back in it, right? I mean, you know, there was no confidence, and I think that, you know, just like you just said, that there's more confidence from our counterparts now. I mean, look, we're going over there, and at the end of the day, we're not going to be successful if our Afghan and Iraqi partners are not confident and strong in us and believe that we're there to get this done, right?
Exactly.
You know, so I think that's a huge point to why we're being successful.
Yeah.
Do you agree with the idea that, Commander, that if we were to pull out of Syria, that creates a vacuum the way a vacuum was created after pulling out of Iraq, and that would strengthen ISIS?
I think it would strengthen ISIS. I don't think the coalition partners are quite at the level yet where they need to be. We should be there as a stabilizing and training force to give them an opportunity, provide that backup, provide the tools that are necessary both in intelligence and assets so that they can go out and do the mission. I mean, that's one of the great things that was just talked about is the president. He's telling them, this is the job I want you to do. What tools do you need to do it? Turning them loose with an expectation for success. And now we're seeing the benefit of that.
But, Commander, you would agree, it's Dagan McDowell, that it's not just about fighting the Islamic State in Syria, because what we've seen develop is maybe a misstep by the United States to allow Iran, even in the last year and a half, to gain ground and build up military positions in Syria along the Israeli border, because now you have a shadow war between Israel and Iran and Syria that's now out in broad daylight. And I know that withdrawing from the Iran nuclear deal is part of fighting that very war by trying to rein in the money that has flooded toward Iran. But could the administration have done more in terms of really keeping Iran and even Russia and the Assad regime in check in Syria, although we've made great strides with the Islamic State?
Well, Dagan, it's a great point, but I think as you mentioned, it really is presence and being there. Staying and being on the ground gives us eyes there that are going to be able to allow us to get the intelligence we may need in order to understand it. But more importantly, I don't think we could have headed it off. I mean, Iran and Russia are independent countries. They can go there. Clearly, the countries that are in the region, principally Saudi Arabia, should have been more proactive. Saudi Arabia allowed itself to essentially be surrounded. When you look at Hezbollah with Iranian as the proxy there, between Lebanon, Syria, their influence in Iraq, you've got Iran, and now with the Houthi rebels in Yemen, they're surrounded. Where's their engagement other than going into Iran? We need to encourage them and give them the tools to more proactively go after Iran and hold them accountable for this expansion, so it's not just resting with Israel.
Commander, and by the way, Kirk, congratulations. Amazing news. Just to segue back to the U.S., I would be curious of both of your views on CIA nominee Haspel, Gina Haspel. Obviously, the whole idea of torture seems to be at the forefront, and whether she is the right person to lead the CIA and or not. And so I would be curious where you come out on her as leading the CIA.
What about that, Dakota?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I still haven't even heard a reason of why she shouldn't lead the CIA. I mean, I said yesterday, over and over, like, you know, blaming her for torture is like blaming the troops for invading Iraq or Afghanistan, right? She wasn't even in a position that policy was in place. She upheld her job, right? She's already came back and said she didn't believe that the tactic, you know, that it worked. I mean, what, because she didn't go back and put the blame on the CIA, this and that? What, she's doing an honorable thing. Look, it's like I said yesterday, there's only two people there's two groups that don't want her in, and that's the Democrats, and then that's also Al-Qaeda.
You know, I also think, though, it's been 17 years, you know, since 9/11, and we've had this time to digest what took place. You know, Dick Cheney yesterday said, look, at the time, but he said he would do it again because the three people that were waterboarded were, number one, the mastermind of 9/11.
Yeah, I mean, we're acting like we're just waterboarding every person we pick up. We're not, right? I mean, there's a whole procedure to this. And look, SEER school, the school that our troops go through is harder than waterboarding, right? I mean, this is, why do you negotiate with terrorists? When do we start doing that?
That's right.
When does that be?
So here's what Dick Cheney and Leon Panetta said about this yesterday. Listen to this.
I think what we did helped ultimately produce the intelligence we needed to be able to get bin Laden. And so I supported it wholeheartedly. I still do to this day, prepared to defend it and debate it and argue it. If it were my call, I would not discontinue those programs. I'd have them active and ready to go, and I'd go back and study them and learn. The agency's in a difficult position.
I share the concerns about the morality of some of those methods, particularly on water torture, which is torture, as far as I'm concerned. And I believe that we have taken the right step to move away from those enhanced procedures and to implement the approach that the FBI implements, that the military implements. I mean, that's the approach we should have taken a long time ago.
Look, Kirk, we lost 3,000 people on 9/11. Let's remember where we were at that time. And by the way, she did say yesterday that she's against using these programs going forward.
I think she's absolutely the right person because she has the experience necessary. Let's face it, what makes a good leader? It's someone who has seen things that don't work, that were immoral, that we may not have wanted to do. That creates a reference point for her to be able to lead the CIA forward in the future. So I think that she has learned from that experience. She is clearly going to develop a mindset within the CIA that there are better ways to do business in the future. While 3,000 may have died, that doesn't necessarily justify it, but you have to look back, view the lens through which we were seeing the world post 9/11.
Yeah.
Our nation did not want another attack, and we were willing to do what was necessary at that time by a number of people, legally justified, to say this is what we feel we need to do to keep the nation safe.
Right.
Having learned from that experience, now we go forward and we're stronger and better as a nation.